You know, this will be B-rail footage.
Ah, fucking sake.
You goon!
I looked away to start the timer! Loot lads. Thought it was safe. I thought the track was tricky. And
It is a tricky track.
Yeah. Welcome back. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
All right, you're not prepared for this.
You know what? No.
Man.
You know what? Look, wait 1 sec. Wait 1 sec.
Waiting.
Okay, welcome back to Loot Lads. There we go. Oh no. Oh,
Buddy,
no. Huh.
you're already in a precarious position.
I
Precarious?
am
very.
Vicarious Visions.
Ooh.
That's a game company.
Biovisionary?
That's a magic card.
Yeah, if you summon 6, you win.
I may have done. That's right. Large lad.
Larg man.
Larg boy. Hate it. Hate
Summon
it.
6. Is it 6 or 8?
I can't remember.
X amount of biovisionaries.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you don't take the momentum with you.
Well, life is pain.
Life is pain. If we're talking about like old video games, can we complain about how shitty the lore is in World of Warcraft?
I mean, sure. I like lore and how bad it's gone.
Whose idea was it to give Illidan 2 redemption arcs, even though he was a main villain and an asshole?
He said more than 2.
I fucking hate this. I can't wait till they try to like redemption arc Sylvanas, which they've already done.
They've already started, yeah.
Yeah. You don't kill the fucking world tree and then expect to be the good guy after everything. Like, just kill her off. Just fucking kill her.
Yep.
Don't give her soul back. Just fucking take her away and make someone cool the war chief. Like, there's so many cool characters you could just put as war chief.
Yep.
The Horde is cool. That's why we play the Horde instead of the Alliance.
I have played Warcraft since Warcraft 2. And I played a lot of Warcraft 3, especially the custom games, because they were excellent.
Yeah, one quirk about Devin is if you mention Warcraft 3 or the Warcraft games, it's never the base gameplay.
Oh god, no.
Usually the conversation inevitably goes to the mods, which honestly, sick-ass mods. Dota, Orc-Arena, Tower Defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the good.
Wintermall Wars, Dragon Ball Z Tribute.
Very good.
What else
So
did I
much
play?
like Wild West back then, where like mods were literally just full-time game designers, because literally what you could do at a studio with the assets that were given is what you could do at home if you were like good enough, or with a team at home if you were good enough.
I mean, the fact that Dota exists due to the fact that it was just a Warcraft 3 mod.
A lot of things exist because it was a Warcraft
True.
3 mod. A lot of things exist because like Half-Life came out and they decided, all right, let's just give them the files because this Warcraft thing came out and they were really good with modding. And then the first equivalencies. Half-Life is the Warcraft 3 for mods.
Kinda, yeah.
Like they had the same attitude, and the company look, it wasn't Active Blizzard. The Blizzard was like very open to that. They were like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Have
Activision
fun.
is not.
And then Valve was like, fuck yeah, have fun, just go do it. And I'm pretty sure Valve is still, they evolved in weird ways. They're so hands-off at Valve that they were like, we're just not gonna make games unless a major console comes out, like whatever. Console made by us, by the way.
Yeah.
Though, Half-Life Alyx is pretty sick. As far as I know. I haven't played it.
I played a little bit of it. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
So when they like actually do projects, they're pretty quality. And then Active Blizzard just kind of went exact opposite
Yeah,
direction.
fuck you.
More games, less friendly.
And shit lore for your games.
Why? Hold on, switching back to World of Warcraft for a bit.
Okay.
Why the fuck did the jailer decide, all right, you get your soul back?
While he was monologuing, when he had everybody in his grip of his hand, that he could kill them all and actually have absolutely no threat, despite the fact that he also has the MacGuffin and he doesn't need them anymore. Fuck if I know, dude.
They could have written that around the players so hard. I don't understand why World of Warcraft has this aversion to let the player characters actually be the reason why they win.
Yep.
Like, I get it. You have lore characters, and you want them to be cool. Like, Thrall wouldn't be Thrall if he wasn't just fucking badass at everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But eventually, I would argue when you started running out of the original storyline, i.e. Wrath of the fucking Lich King,
Yeah.
you kind of have to give Odin's to the fact that there are literally 20 people standing in the background as all this is happening, and they're pointing at that guy drinking their potions going, all right, so when are we killing him?
Yeah, so just for clarity here, big Warcraft guy, love it to death. As I mentioned, started in 2, and oh wait,
Yeah.
back here. I know most of the lore up to a certain point of World of Warcraft.
Yep.
Pretty much just off by heart at this point. Okay, well there he goes. Hey, nice.
Hey, nice.
And boy howdy. So the first expansion, or the first release of World of Warcraft, didn't really have too much lore into it, just like a couple characters and stuff, and things inspired by original lore. Awesome, right? Like it had the Warcraft feel to it. It had it did things right. And number 2 was lore respecting, in the fact that it went to Outland, which you did in Warcraft 3. Fought at Black Temple, which was it's a lore thing, and it had Illidan, which we that's right. Which we've established is, he fought the Lich King at the end of Warcraft 3 and lost, and then got fucked off to Outland like a little bitch. But
then he fought the Lich King again in Wrath, and he also lost.
Did you fight him again in Wrath?
Yeah, it was in the installer, actually. I remember this distinctly because I was like not very versed in the lore when I installed Wrath. And then I was reading the intro of Wrath of the Lich King. It's like, oh, they're coming, because it's essentially Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne. So of course they also had the beat of, yeah, Illidan escaped Outlands, and he fist fought Arthas, and he lost. Like, he was literally face down Yamcha, I'm just putting references in, but he was face down in the snow, bruised, beaten, ego dead at that point. And then I think they captured him again.
I think that was the end of Warcraft 3, that they were just rebringing the lore up.
Oh, all right, very good, very good. In which case, I still want... In my mind, it's a lot funnier, but it makes more sense.
Oh, no, it's hilarious that, Illidan, Big Bad of number 2, just gets bodied by Big Bad of number 3.
I mean, that's how you set up, power levels. Dragon Ball Z's been doing that for, years.
And then the next one's a fucking mad dragon. That was awesome.
Yeah, they have so much cool shit going on, but none of it resolves in a way that's satisfying, except for, honestly, watching the finale to Mists of Pandaria.
That was...
The catharsis of these panda people being like, look, everyone fucked up here, we're dealing with it, go away.
Yeah.
You fight the big bad in that game, and it's like, alright, so this dark god that we've been sealing, that was released recently, was released by this guy. And I know he's Horde, and I know the Alliance wants to pick him apart, and I know the Horde also wants to pick him apart, but we're doing this our way. You've messed up too many times. And then just push the get the fuck out of my house button.
No, so the first... World of Warcraft stopped being about the lore and about Mists of Pandaria.
I mean, yeah, that's because they ran out of lore.
Yeah. They ran out of lore at that point, and then had to start making up their own shit, and much like Game of Thrones, did not go great.
Yeah, once you start going off of I mean, honestly, I was fine with it up until I realized that, wait a minute, this is just the same shit happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the Warlords of Draenor was cool because it referenced back from more of the book stuff or the original Warcraft thing where it was about the clans of all the... Okay, the Rhino? Fuck them.
You know what I blame? I honestly blame the MCU for making it popular. And here's my reasoning for it.
All right.
Warcraft, up to Wrath of the Lich King, was all about this epic story and setting up, there's a reason why Arthas was a shithead, and there's a reason why, you have these major, larger-than-life characters doing stuff, and it's not just look at my crazy powers, I'm so powerful. We established a entire setting, an entire, I'd count the Scourge as a weird villain culture of things. They're mindless zombies.
Yeah.
Who controls the zombies? Oh, there's this cool guy called the Lich King. He's fucking sick. And he takes over Arthas, who eventually becomes the Lich King. due to like this weird reverse hero's journey that he went on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's amazing. And then you go to Warlords of Draenor where they reintroduce these characters with a lot of lore, and what do? They're the Avengers, but they're orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore it takes the agency out of everything except for the good guy, because like the good guy tribe, because you play with them. Like you explore their lore, and everyone else is just a villain. Like it's a comic book at that point. It's not a big established lore. There's no reason why you can't just like hash it out, because effectively they label them as bad guys. There's no reason for them to be bad guys.
It really just started fucking with things.
Yeah, like
for no reason.
Boy Red Orc came back and said, "Hey, here's what's gonna happen," and all of them, except for the Frost Wolves, which are the good guy clan, and I think one other one decided, you know what? I choose evil today. And it's definitely a nature versus nurture thing, because the orcs at best in Outlands were neutral, and then the demons came, and then the demons were like, yeah, just eat souls, because that's what we do. It was a force of nature that controlled them, and instead they chose violence because violence is cool. Because someone needed a bad guy. Like, it's just, what the fuck? This is definitely oversimplifying and also being a little rambly, because I usually do that.
What?
Of like, here's how you don't engage in like villain stuff. But there's just no context anymore. There's nothing cool. Like, Sylvanas essentially did a bad guy because we needed a bad guy. And of course it was Horde again. Like, God forbid we
if you're Alliance, you have no story.
Yeah, God forbid we actually go fight, like, Anduin, who actually has a reason to be a villain if he really wanted to. Like, his dad died, and then he...
Due to Sylvanas, I'm pretty sure, right? No, it was...
It was during Legion.
Yeah, that's which I stopped caring about the lore.
Yeah.
So I can't remember.
Like, his dad died, he's part of the Light, which is essentially just this entity that is giving people powers through power of belief. He could definitely have been like, wait a minute. This all, like, Horde helped us, that's absolutely fine, but I need to find a way to get more power so that I can stop this ourselves without needing to rely on the Horde so much, so that we can be stronger, and when we do conflict again, or maybe we can just solve peace if, like, we're the stronger, like, thing. Like, that's actually an interesting way to push a villain out, right? Of, like, we want to do good, here's my change. And then all of a sudden, oops, here's Shadow Anduin, because Shadow spec is the DPS kill things spec. And what's the easiest way to do things in that fucking lore? Murder him.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, there's just, like, this one paladin guy that's like, Anduin, you feeling okay, bud? And then he kills him, and then there we go. New expansion, interesting villain, and we can set up the Alliance working with the Horde again.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is like they keep trying to force this divide where the world is ending constantly. Why not just have the two factions work together like they did in multiple other scenarios?
Yeah.
Oh no, Ragnaros shows up, fuck him up, crew. Anchorage opens up, oh shit, fuck up the old god, crew. Alright, Burning Crusade, what happens there? Oh, Illidan, he's trying to fuck shit up, fuck him up, crew. Kel'Thuzad, trying to open up the Sunwell and stuff, fuck him up, crew. Etc, etc, etc.
Like, I get the first, like, few expansions, because at
Trying
that
to set up
point,
the Sunwell, I'm sorry.
like, really,
Yeah, Tempest Keep.
the one point where they needed to work together, like, they only were in Shatrath because they tolerated each other, because there was the Burning Legion.
Yeah.
And I would say in that point of the story, if you really wanted to extend like tensions on Alliance versus Horde, or like X versus Y, red versus blue, whatever, you could definitely get away with, yeah, this was all just a contest. Like, whoever beat Illidan and the Burning Legion were super cool guys, and they get to run like the world, the world of Azeroth type of thing, like the main place where we all live. And
it's really easy.
Yeah, like Alliance wants to legitimately save things, and the Horde is raised at that point to believe that, like, conflict and honor. So what's the biggest honor possible? Let's go save the world. Like, that's fucking sick. You can write it. And then Arthas was literally the one turning point where I'm like, all right, so there's a reason why they can't be together, is because the Horde did some really untrustworthy shit, and really it was just the Forsaken. But like, they're part of the Horde. Even though we worked together to kill the Lich King, it was like, all right, but we still gotta watch you people.
Yeah, like
because
the
you literally
Forsaken
poisoned
bombard-
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, like
At one point, the undead decided that, what's the best way to solve this conflict? I know, bomb everybody with plague that's at this, like, at the wall and kill both sides equally.
so Horde versus Alliance, reasonable.
Yeah. Like,
Next
the
one.
conflicts were relatively
Yeah.
easy to keep going between the factions up to a certain point.
And
but-
then honestly, it tore apart during Kata, because Green Jesus came up and said, "Look, y'all need to work together in order to not end this fucking world." And then he blew up Deathwing, and I was like, "All right, sick. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna go repair the world," type of thing, because I'm Green Jesus and I do that. And then all of a sudden, it was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna fight again."
Yeah, because at that point, like, at least, like, some of the logic there kind of started to track all right, because, like, I don't know what atrocities really happened in Burning Crusade, because I focus more on, like, the main storyline.
Let's be honest
stuff.
here. Everything here for the like WoW nerd or like the WoW lore people that pay attention. First of
hate
all,
that
good
lore.
on you. I really enjoy that you're like I enjoy the content, and I'm glad that you keep up on it so that you can like tell us off in the comments. Honestly, I enjoy that shit. But regardless, like there's just a lot. So don't feel too bad about like not remembering a minute detail or a major event that's just like overshadowed by the fact that we murdered Illidan.
Let's see. There, yeah. So, Garrosh was installed.
I mean, he
Put
was installed
forward.
with something.
Yeah, he was put forward as chieftain after Thrall stepped down because he had to go convene with the elements because the Cataclysm was fucking things up, which made sense. All the levels in the Cataclysm were actually based on the elemental planes being in turmoil. So, the boy who is a shaman, who is also a leader, who is like the world's best shaman, was gonna go fix that. Cool, makes sense. So they put Garrosh in there because he trusted his dad a lot, Grom Hellscream, and
Honestly, I think it was just that like they drank together, Thrall and Garrosh, so like that's fine. They're brothers.
and like he had a penchant for being a good leader at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool, makes sense. Oh, by the way, he really fucking hates the Alliance to the point where he just mana bombed Theramore at some point, and like, I think straight up killed what's her face's fiance.
Oh, that's right. All right. So now it's reasonable that they still were in Cataclysm. You're
Jaina.
Yeah,
Jaina's love interest, something like that, got mana bombed to death. And sort of Theramore. But at least that's like, extending the conflict in a way that like it makes sense. You installed a crazy despot as your leader, and now we're paying the consequences. Sure. That's the best way to do it through Cataclysm. But the end of Cataclysm, it's like, we just saved the world by uniting together against a giant fucking fuck-off dragon it's Deathwing. It is one of the primal agents of the world, where the whispers of the old gods drove him insane, and his body, after consuming part of the dragon soul, or all of the dragon soul, and they had to make a new one, that's why they went back in time.
There you go. Oh, by the way, the WoW lore is also very confusing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So the dragon soul essentially was a thing built that could harness the power of each of the essences of like the main dragon. There's a bunch of different colored dragons. They all kind of control a part of like magic and nature and all that fun stuff. And so much like the Lord of the Rings, one guy built the ring to bind all the kings and all that fun stuff. I'm getting off this guy. I don't trust him.
He's shifty. Look at him.
Fuck!
You should have trusted him.
They poured the power into the dragon soul, and then he's like, cool, mine now, and then used it to fuck up all the dragons, because now he had, like, the power of all the aspects. Whoopsie-doo! And then it was too much for him to handle. His body started breaking, and because of the whispers, because of the power, he went absolutely insane, and he had to hire a fuck ton of goblins to weld, like, dark steel plates to him or something like that, and now he's breaking apart constantly, but he's made of metal, and that's why the whole fucking end fight against him is like ripping off parts of him and fighting the old god goo coming out of him, because he's just it's a really metal fight.
Dude, stay consistent as well. Can I just say, expansion was good because cool villain, cool backstory, cool way that he's the center of conflict. Very powerful because of the ways that he's the center of conflict, as well as has a lot of backstory, lore, and setup to him.
And a really fun thing that happened in the game was the event of, like, you can just be wandering... I'm done with this. You could just be wandering around and all of a sudden the sky just turns red and he just shows up and burns the entire zone.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is kind of cool. Because, like, when you have a giant world-ending monster and he's just sitting waiting for the hero to show up to stab him to death, it's like, alright, why didn't you do anything earlier? This one, he was actively trying to destroy the world, it felt like. And it was just like a really, really cool situation where it's like, things are bad. We need to fix this now. And I thought it was really, really dope. Especially in the beta, because that's when I first, experienced it. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah,
I enjoy this. And then Mist the Pandaria came out. Pandas did exist in the game at some point. Chen Stout something. Either way,
oh yeah, I don't trust this man anymore.
You can't trust the rhino. It's the nose. They need to harvest it for erection medicine.
Yes.
Yes, it's in. Yeah, no, that didn't work. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
back to the lore.
Yeah, okay.
Pandaria happened. Garage still in control after bombing Theramore, being naughty. Ends up also being influenced by the old gods, which are Cthulhu-esque monsters, and shows up in order to eat the heart of darkness, the heart of something. It was essentially
Heart of Cthulhu. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was a heart of
Yasharaj.
Yeah.
Yasharaj.
Yeah. Because he was the Shah were like these little spiritual monsters running around throughout the entire plane that was terrorizing it, and it was like the embodiment of evil. And Shah, didn't even fucking clue into me until much later that Yasharj has Shah in it. And I was like, that makes sense. There you go. I believe in you. And so that ended up taking Rosh by Crazy Storm. And then he shows up and then gets consumed by the heart, and then you have to go fight him in a pretty neat situation where you go to the capital city of the Horde, and it's a raid now, and you have to go through the entire place, and it's a neat.
Even as Horde, because it's Dark Gods, not your War Chief. Yeah.
And it's, once again,
oh, fuck me,
a unification of the good and the bad team. I say good and the bad, but both are ambivalent towards good and evil. But it was a very interesting bonding of both sides. And then we lost it.
Yeah.
We lost it hard in Legion. Or in Warlords of Draenor, and like the whole going back. I don't like time travel stories, really.
Well, here's the thing about that as well, is like, I'm pretty sure the way they framed the conflict in that is just awful. Like, time travel aside, it's very difficult to run a compelling thing.
Yeah.
Because why not just travel back in time to a point where you don't fail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But at that point, we just described villains in the Warcraft story. We have Illidan, who's cool bad guy, who's essentially Demon Batman.
Yeah.
We have Deathwing, giant dragon, who's literally being like driven mad by gods with the whole like goblins nailing Darksteel to him.
Yeah.
And then we have the 5 orc war chiefs that don't really have any venture in this conflict at all, and were literally introduced as, look at this guy, he's the chief of the iron hand, like the one hand ones where they replace all their right hands with hooks. Ain't that cool? We're gonna piggyback off the old lore again and not establish why these guys are cool.
Yeah, and I mean, a name like Kargath Bladefist is fucking dope.
Yeah, like their names and their gimmicks alone, there's literally nothing else. Like, what can you tell me about Karthag that you can also say, oh, it's comparable to
Kargath?
Kargath, whatever.
No, nothing. The big bads in that were kind of like, they were raid bosses, but they weren't like world-ending raid bosses. That was left up to Gul'dan, who was big. He's the reason that the orcs went from red to green.
Very good.
Because he was like, cool, I'm gonna make a pact with demons, and in order to gain a bunch of power, we're just gonna drink demon blood.
There you go.
And that's why they went from red to green, because they're all filled with.
And might I also say, much more compelling villain, because that's cool as shit, and there's a reason for him to be a bad guy.
And he was already defeated before. The Skull of Gul'dan is actually a weapon that you have to get in Warcraft 3 for Illidan, and that's why Illidan has that, like, he has he likes holding skulls, I'm pretty sure they just stole it from him having the skull of Gul'dan at one point.
Yeah.
But because now Gul'dan is alive, because of the time travel bullshit, he ends up using it as a time travel bullshit thing, and now, careful, stay in the back. Yep. Okay.
No, the momentum doesn't carry, and I'm mad about it.
And then he ends up teleporting going to the future, and then summoning the Burning Legion #2, except this time on Azeroth instead of in the Outlands.
So I have a thought-provoking question.
Should we pause it?
For this?
Yeah, just to get back to where we were.
Sure. Well, tell you the question, keeping in mind all of the dumb, like, why is the Alliance and Horde fighting each other, even though, like, do we have a common villain type of thing?
You know what? Yeah, let's finish up the World of Warcraft checks. It's probably alienating a couple people.
So, we have 2 factions, probably like 3 or 4 to be honest, that all hate each other, even though we're fighting the exact same threat. Why is that less compelling than Warhammer 40k, where we have one Imperium that's tearing itself apart, fighting, as far as they're concerned, common enemies? Is it because, mayhaps, the onus is on the player to make the epic battles? 2, the fact that there's so many of them that no matter what you do, everyone's fighting each other because of their pre-established huge lore of pride, and also like backstory to establish why they're like that, and also the fact that if you don't want to create your own character in that lore to like play in your games, you have established characters that you can piggyback off of. Like, this guy is so cool, that's why I like this army, or that's why I like fighting with him. Just saying that you can play people and play out conflicts that actually fucking matter. World of Warcraft. The dungeons don't matter. They're part of the lore, but you're playing a fucking theme park.
Yeah, that's another thing too. A lot of the dungeons don't matter anymore. There's nothing really that like is thematically cool. Like before, you fought a Nubarak, and I was like, oh man, Nubarak's like one of my favorite villains from like one of my favorite characters from Warcraft 3. That like is just he's an undead giant beetle king that fucking just commands swarms and stuff. I'm like, neat. And then you fight him in his own temple, and I was like, oh, what? That's cool. And then you fight him, or no, you fight part of him, and then you fight a Nubarak at the end of a raid, which was a little underwhelming. But it was just kind of cool to see that, like, oh, my favorite character is still being represented.
Yeah.
And represented okay. And it's just, you know, you don't get that in stuff anymore, I don't think. Like, who cares about the Maw or whatever the fuck it's called now? Like, it's just, I don't know. The game is bad now, and I'm sad about it. Because I just want game to be good.
I mean,
the gameplay stopped being good after Cataclysm.
Is this just like a hit piece on World of Warcraft now? I mean, I know I was gonna like, I just wanted to like point out how goofy the fucking lore was now.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, I passionately believe that Raid Finder bad, but Dungeon Fighter good. Because at least it got you to a point where you could be like, all right, cool, now we can engage with the more challenging content with the team, because dungeons after a while just become superfluous. Like, they're unnecessary after a certain point. So just having the ability to group up with just a random group of people just to get them done, to either catch up with, you know, other people or you know, get geared up to actually engage with the content.
Yeah.
Was good, but like after a certain point, you don't need to do those anymore. So unless you want like badges to get other stuff or like points for a certain thing, there was a currency situation, and that was cool. That made sense. All right, fine. But then Raid Finder, like you build up the entire time to fight the challenging content, and then it made the challenging content easy, and like it's less rewarding. Obviously, you don't get as good gear, and like you don't get the right mechanics, but like. The whole point of the raids was to kind of experience more of the story in a way that, like, was rewarding. Like, you spend a lot of time doing this, and, like, the payoff is, for me anyway, the lore stuff, because I like the lore. Cool, I got all the bits and pieces that I want out of this. I can move on now. But then having Raid Finder, it's like, cool, I can go in, Dungeon Find on me thing, I've got enough gear to do Raid Finder, did Raid Finder, alright, now I got the lore to this, now I don't need to really work on anything anymore. It's like, cool, so I guess I'll just cancel my subscription now, and then I'll come back right at the end of it to be like, oh yeah, right, I'll go do all these things, get the lore pieces that I missed out, and then unsubscribe again.
Here's the thing. World of Warcraft should have ended when they introduced the Dungeon Finder, because it stopped being social community simulator, where you have to engage with the community, and now you can just be shitheads to everybody because there's no like, it's just nothing now. It's a game that was ahead of its time because they introduced like the Finder, and Final Fantasy 14 is doing fucking fantastically.
Yes.
And I actually really like that game because the Dungeon Finder now serves so many more purposes.
Yes.
You can get transmogs, which weren't initially available, but they caught up, so whatever. You can, like, transmogs being if you like the piece of gear that you're wearing for its looks, and then you get a upgrade that you can't replace with the previous piece of gear because like it's just so much better.
Yeah.
You can be like, wait a minute, I can spend literally no currency to transform it.
Yep.
That's sick. 10 out of 10 design.
I mean, World of Warcraft did put transmog in too.
Yeah. That's the pioneer.
Yeah.
But the problem is, World of Warcraft didn't design anymore for Dungeon Finder or Raid Finder because of the whole token thing. Like, before, if you got tokens for your gear, can't speak. Thoughts are hard. They have to do so much shit for the item level now because they don't, like, they introduced the gear system, but they also want the classic, like, you play a dungeon to get gear. Hold on, adjusting the mic. There you go. You play the dungeon system to get gear. So you still have the style of dungeon where you need to socialize and do shit, but now it's just fallen flat because now you don't have to work to get into that dungeon. So now it's literally just busy work. Final Fantasy, it introduces that shit automatically. Like, as a new player on Final Fantasy, you don't even really need to, like, be versed in MMOs to be like, wait a minute, you're saying that you're going to teach me how to do this transmog for free, and it's expected, and there are special, like specific cosmetic items for doing the dungeons in the Raid Finder, and I can level up with the Dungeon Finder on any dungeon. Ooh, I can help out new players, so there's a reason and more of a community because I'm communicating and teaching new players. It's so much more fulfilling to Dungeon Finder in that system, whereas World of Warcraft is building up, not building for like what it introduced.
And another thing too, when they started doing like cross-realm stuff, that's I think like that was my kind of like straw that broke the camel's back on World of Warcraft.
That was the death for me as well.
Because like, yes, all right, cool. Oh no.
All right,
switch out to DK at a certain point.
Don't take the hit.
Well, no, because she'll bounce off. What's his face?
I just let him land on me.
All right.
It's a strat. There's a barrel right there. Pardon me.
And what was I gonna say?
About games that I don't play anymore. They got me on the hiccups.
And yeah, so like your whole situation of being a community in that server now is disappeared because you're cross-realmed a whole bunch of things. If you Dungeon Finder did, I'm pretty sure it was still with everybody on the server. So you could be like, oh, hey, what's up, dude that I met on this? Or, hey, I sold you some gems or something like that. It was kind of neat because you could be like, it was still a sense of community. And to the point where it was good, and it was also had its also had the bad situations of like, oh, aren't you the guild leader who ninja'd the Phoenix and you tried to make some diatribe of it being an achievement for the guild and therefore you deserved it as the guild leader to show that like, you know, you persevered more than others apparently.
Well, that's also partially why I brought up the Right. Ooh, excuse me, sir. That actually scared me.
Yeah.
That's also why I brought up the like teaching new players thing. The anonymous system that World of Warcraft had as soon as Cross-Realm had, you could literally be as toxic as now you want.
Yep.
And there's no consequence. Now, it's the internet. You can play as toxic as you want with no consequence regardless.
True.
But in the server, if you paid attention, you know as soon as you joined up with like David Spaniel 2022 or some garbage like that guy not only will roll neat on things that he doesn't want 100% of the time, but he will do it because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
You know to go, all right, David Spaniel 2222 is
vote kick this guy.
Yeah, either vote kick this guy or party up with me because he's done this multiple times and because the other people are on the server, they know it.
Yeah.
And it made people play nice because you don't want to be known as that guy who just steals shit from other players.
Yeah.
It's a society at that point. This is society.
It's a society.
But honestly, like, it helped people not be assholes, because if you really want to go to that end game, you have to be polite. Like, it's something that's unheard of. Final Fantasy gets away with it. It's anonymous because it's like it's still one big server, but it's like sectioned off.
Ooh.
I just did not expect what was happening there.
Just take it slow.
Yeah,
After
yeah,
this,
yeah.
we get the save.
Ah, very good. But it encourages veteran players not only to go through dungeons because it allows them to like get transmogs as well as increases your like experience gained. It also makes it so that you can opt into a chief, like a new player helping position.
Yeah.
So that you voluntarily go to those lower level dungeons, because not only does it benefit you in your late game progression, but it also benefits the other players that you can probably like invite to guild. It's not the perfect system, obviously. You can still be an asshole.
Yeah.
But at least it's the step in the right direction where you can volunteer to say, oh, he has the I'm going to teach people badge, so I can watch out for him and say, oh, he's generally friendly. As a new player, I can trust him in what he says. Or
And-
like I can rely on him to not steal my gear.
And it shows like who are new players over their heads with the sprout icon, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So it like, you know, it's a game that had respect ingrained into it. I think down is DK or the DK barrel,
I don't want to mess with that guy.
but I would.
Oh, I understand why
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to take this real slow.
Okay, slowly and surely. You know what? We'll take this as slow as we need. Because this is next time on Loot Lads. Wow. See? The thing that I said. Almost. It's goddamn.
Next time on Looty Boys.
Less MMO talk. We just had to get one out there. Because I mean,
Just kept going.
it was part of our lives for a long while.
Yeah.
A
and
long
then
while.
Turn into garbage.
It turned the fucking shit. I just punched my mic in anger.